Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, and we're going to take another look at a reel here. This is a Abu Cardinal 753 that Bobby sent in. It's a rear drag reel, approximately a 25 or 30 size reel. This one is a reel that probably came as a rod and reel combination, but possibly came as an inexpensive entry-level reel, and it doesn't have an anti-reverse. So we're going to see if we can address that issue, maybe clean it up. The rest of the reel seems to be fine, but this one is struggling because it doesn't have the backstop. We've tried the switch a couple of times. That doesn't work. So this is going to go one of two ways. Either we're going to show you how to repair that anti-reverse, or we're going to explain to you why that anti-reverse failed. And well, you can take notes from that to service your rear drag fishing reel of the time. Again, this is the Abu 753, and let's get started. Before I get to the anti-reverse, we want to see what we can do about removing pieces and parts, including that top spool. And when you remove that top spool, well, you can see that this reel just hasn't been serviced in a long time. There's a lot of dirt and debris inside here. That's not the cause of the anti-reverse failure, but it is a cause of concern with the reel itself. While I take the handle off, I want to encourage you to subscribe to my channel. And if you do subscribe to my channel, please use that notification button. That notification button will let you know when I'm posting. Today I'm posting on a freshwater rear drag fishing reel. Tomorrow maybe a very large trolling reel. And the next day, well, it might be a low profile bait caster. We never know. It's what comes in to my shop for service. And well, I love the variety of the challenges that I get out there, and I hope you enjoy seeing the different types of fishing reels and well, how to service them, and a little bit of an understanding about well, who made them, when they were made, and things that can go wrong with them. And maybe that's what we're learning today. The case comes off with 3 screws. That first one was a little tight. I'm going to put a little bit of penetrating oil on the other 2 while I work this first one out. And when I take my pieces and parts off, I put them into a parts tray. I'm using a fast food container these days. And a parts tray is just a way to organize what you've done with the pieces as they've been removed, and kind of a convenient place to store them and to know where to look for them when it's time to put the reel back together again. So we've got 2 of them out. Hopefully we'll get this third one out. They're a little tight, which again is an indication that the case hasn't been off in quite some time. Well, today's effort is about that anti-reverse, and there's a couple of different methods that fishing reels have for the anti-reverse. The more modern ones use an anti-reverse clutch that's housed on the pinion gear. It's a one-way clutch that will stop when you try to turn your reel backwards. These are older school. I believe what we're going to find here is a little arm mechanism that goes into a slot on the rotor, but well, we'll see. Those 3 screws are out. We should be able to remove the side plate, which we do. And again, a lot of evidence that the reel hasn't been serviced in quite some time. That evidence is in the fact that all this grease here is just plain congealed. You can just see it just comes up in chunks. And well, I'm just going to use a small flat-bladed screwdriver as kind of a scraper to get that up. And for those of you that watch the channel, you know I do use penetrating oil as a solvent. So we'll just put a little bit there and let that work its way in while we go to try and figure out what's going on below here. The main gear came out with that one piece, but it doesn't come out all the way. We need to remove the gear shaft, the axle shaft here, to get it off. And in order to do that, there's usually a screw on here or a clip that's holding that in place. Oh, we should be able to get this out now. I'm thinking, yeah, there we go. Okay, this one has a tag behind it here. We'll show you that in a moment. Got to clean it up first so you can see it. Again, very old grease. I suspect what may have happened here is the old grease probably just dried and kept that ring spring there from doing its job. It's probably locked it out. And if it locks it out, it's an eccentric spring. It travels with your reel, and then, well, it breaks back, pulling that lever in when you backpedal the reel. But right now, there's so much grease and junk and debris on there that spring does not operate very well. We're going to continue to clean this, and while we do, I want to encourage you to ask questions, whether it's about this reel or another reel. You don't have to find my video on a particular reel in order to ask the question. Just ask a question. I'll try to answer it for you. That question can be a general question, what are rear drag fishing reels used for example, on this one, or it can be a very specific question. I have this brand of a reel with this problem, and I'm not sure what to do or what can be causing it. Can you help? Those kinds of questions I'm happy to answer as well. Okay, I got the dirt off of the inner part. That's all thrown there by centrifugal force. And this is what we're looking at right here. It's this hook. It might be hard to see. I'm not sure. Let's see if we can do it this way. There's a hook right here. And that hook has to go into, well, maybe you can see it better that way. That hook has to go into the slot here on the gear to pull this back and forth. And again, I see a big puddle of grease here. And my guess on this one is that the reel, for the most part, has become what I call grease choke. And when that happens, well, things just slow down or don't work. And so we'll do the same thing here. We're going to use this just to speed up the reel a little bit. We want to see if we can get this done. All right, so this is in the down position. This would be released because this little beak right here is going to fall into the stops over here. Again, more dirt here on that beak. So if you push this up, the spring is going to come back in and operate like that. And that's going to do that with the spring from the back end of the gear. Now let's put it in and see if we'll give it a test. I'll put that back in. Now there's a window here on this gear. Pull that off for you. There's a window. You can see the hole. And what you want to do is you want to align that hooked piece of spring with the window. That way you can look through the window and guide that spring right into this slot here. That's where it belongs. Look through that window, line it up with your slot there. Bring it into the back end, swap it over. And you may not see it, but I can see that I have it. So this is going to spin this way. Then when you go to pull that back, it's going to pull it in and stop it. Well, there you go. Well, we can take a moment here just to put some fresh grease on this. I'm not going to do a full rebuild on this. I really wanted to just show you the cause of this. We'll put a little bit of grease onto the main gear and onto the pinion gear. The rest of the case is relatively clean. And well, we're going to get this one back to Bobby. We wanted to use this as an example of what you might find at a flea market. It wouldn't be a very expensive reel, but it would be a reel that, well, can keep going fishing for a long time to come. that little bit left over there of the extra grease. All right, let's do that one more time. We're going to look through the window here. Line that up, look through the window, find the slot, into the slot. I'll wipe down this case here. You notice that we have a shim washer that came off the main gear. Put that back. This has no ball bearings in it, this reel. As I mentioned, it's a relatively inexpensive reel. It just serves as a good example of how these reels can be kept serviced so that, well, they just keep fishing. All right, let's put the case back on. And we'll just see if we've been effective enough that it will hold it. 3 screws. I'll put the handle and the spool back on. We'll see if we have an anti-reverse. We should. So these are lesson learned reels. I encourage folks to pick up broken fishing reels at markets, flea markets, Facebook Marketplace, cheap reels and parts lots on eBay. Take them apart and see what you can learn. And this one's, well, its purpose is just as a tuition reel to educate you on how to fix that. And then Bobby likes, he can kind of take it fishing too. All right, we'll put that spool back on. Let's grab that handle. I've seen a lot of these in red and black. I haven't seen too many of them in the green. Kind of interesting. All right, we'll just give it a spin, make sure that the anti-reverse is working here. See if we did it. All right, spinning. Yep, there you go. So I think what we found out that the cause of this issue is that the grease probably choked the reel, stopping that spring from either moving or dislodging it. And there was also a lot of grease on that dog. So somehow one piece or the other became dislodged. We lost the anti-reverse. And well, this trigger, well, that trigger was not doing any good because the piece wasn't set. Now we've got a trigger that works. You can backpedal a reel. Now when you move it forward, you have the anti-reverse. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that. It's not a full service. It was just really intended to be why is the anti-reverse not working on this one. Kind of showed you what the cause of that is. And we showed you how to reset that anti-reverse if you happen to have a reel like this that does use that little fork and eccentric spring mounted to the back of the main gear. I hope you've enjoyed it. I want to take a moment to thank our first responders for all it is that they do. I appreciate their efforts day in and day out. I want to thank you for viewing. And again, if you haven't subscribed and would like to, I encourage you to do that. And if you do subscribe, please use that notification button. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, wishing you a great day.